So if you're driving in the Srivananthapuram right now, especially around the major infrastructure projects, it feels less like a typical commute and, well, much more like you're navigating a high-stakes obstacle course.
And that feeling, that sense of risk, is exactly the friction we're here to unpack today. It's this unavoidable tension that happens when you pour billions into rapid world-class infrastructure.
Like the NH66 expansion.
Exactly. And that modern construction collides head-on with these deeply ingrained local driving habits.
That collision is our deep dive. We're focusing on the NH66 expansion corridor, specifically in the Kazakudam area. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, you have to picture this. It's just a chaotic mix of towering, half-finished flyovers, worn-out diversions, and construction zones where, honestly, road safety just hangs by a thread.
And we're not just looking at, broad traffic data. We're getting really granular. We're honing in on a very precise micro-level analysis.
All right, it's a series of intense eyewitness accounts, all from one single Friday afternoon, December 26, 2025. And these two specific, almost catastrophic near misses, they just perfectly capture why you need extreme caution there.
Our mission here is to find those universal aha moments that are kind of hidden inside these very local events.
We want to understand what these sources tell us about the collective road sense in a place that's getting this massive facelift, and, what lessons we can generalize for fast-growing cities anywhere.
So the goal for you, the learner, is to go beyond just saying, oh, risky driving exists. We want to dig into the psychological calculus. Why does this aggressive driving persist, even when the environment itself is just screaming for caution?
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the first incident. It takes place right in the thick of it all. The time was 15.42 at the Kazakudam flyover construction site.
And the source describes the road there as a patchwork of repairs.
A total nightmare. I mean, it's typical for an area where new construction meets old, broken-up tarmac.
The scene itself is crucial here because what's really being fought over is space. It's a very, very tight junction.
Incredibly tight. The driver who told us about this was sitting at the tip of a merging triangle, just trying to make a simple left turn. They've got a white Vitara Brezza, like 2 feet off their back bumper.
So no room to maneuver backwards?
None. And a black motorcycle right up on their left. They're just focused, waiting for a gap in the main NH66 traffic.
Waiting for that moment of opportunity, a moment that really requires patience, respect for the lane.
Which is, of course, exactly when it all went wrong.
Predictably.
The traffic clears, the driver starts the turn, hugging the curb just like they're supposed to, and then the rider of that black motorcycle plate, KL22 and 188, makes just an unbelievable decision.
Instead of waiting
2 seconds, he decides that the solid concrete footpath is a better option.
the pedestrian footpath.
Yes, the one with the white metal railings and everything. He used it as his own private lane and just lunged forward to aggressively overtake the car from the left as it was turning.
Wow. That decision, it just shows a profound disrespect for any kind of spatial boundary.
Oh.
It's treating the whole environment as if it's just there for his own convenience.
The near miss was terrifyingly close. The source says the bike literally airbrushed the car's left tire and the side mirror.
Oh.
And to get across a proximity, the eyewitness said, for a split second, there was no daylight between my car and his Storite backpack.
Just inches. So you asked earlier how we categorize this. This is the textbook definition of high-risk, low-reward maneuvering.
Right.
What's the gain? 2 sidewalks, maybe 3 seconds off a commute that was already slowed to a crawl. And the risk. A catastrophic collision. He could have been thrown under the car, into the railing.
The audacity is shocking. But okay, let me just challenge that for a second.
Yeah.
If it was so reckless, why wasn't it worse? Why was it just a near miss?
And that, right there, that's the most critical finding in this whole incident. The chaos and the congestion, they were the saving grace.
The bad traffic saved him.
Yes. The source specifically notes they were both traveling under 30 kilometers per hour. If they'd been going at 60, the speed that new highway is designed for, that airbrush would have been a massive high-impact crash, no question.
So in a weird twist, the very congestion, the chaos, the poorly maintained road that acted as a sort of involuntary speed limit.
It's a safety feature mandated by bad traffic. It's protecting people from their own worst instincts.
That is a paradox.
It's the central paradox. The infrastructure chaos is what's keeping people alive right now. It forces low speeds, and that's the only thing mitigating this high-risk driving culture.
Okay, that's a huge insight. Now, let's fast forward just 10 minutes and change locations completely, because the next incident shows us the problem isn't just the broken road.
It's the broken mindset. We're going from a messy messy construction zone to what's supposed to be a beacon of order.
Exactly. The time is 15.52. The location. The Technopark Phase area. This isn't that patched up road. This is the face of New Trivandrum. We're talking high-rise apartments, brand new, crystal clear signs, yellow box junctions designed specifically to prevent gridlock.
It's all smart infrastructure. It's meant to support safe, disciplined movement.
And yet the traffic was still heavy. And that's when a first-generation white Toyota Innova Krista taxi plate, KL27 F369, decided that despite all these visual cues for safety, it was going to play a game of inches.
An inches mindset.
The driver aggressively swung past the left side of the observer's car so closely, they said they could practically feel the paint vibrate. It missed their front bumper by maybe an inch.
And the location change here is so important. In the first scene, you could, arguably blame confusion or broken boundaries. But here, the environment is clear. It's ordered. It dictates safe flow.
So the psychology has to be different.
It has to be. Why doesn't a yellow box junction, which is the clearest possible symbol of do not block this space, why doesn't that enforce compliance?
It's like the rule doesn't apply to them.
It speaks to a cultural habit of prioritizing your individual journey over the system. The driver sees a rule, sees a tiny gap, and their internal math just concludes that the tiny bit of time saved is worth the huge risk to everyone else.
And that risk was immediate. The Trista didn't even stop there. It kept going and nearly mauled a two-wheeler just ahead, forcing that poor rider to swerve violently off to the left.
Right into the curve.
Just to avoid being hit. This is more than impatience. It's just a complete disregard for proximity, especially for vulnerable road users. This isn't confusion, it's aggression.
It's a belief that the space you need is always yours for the taking, even if you have to force someone else out of it.
The result was the sound of screeching brakes, just echoing between all those new high-rises as everyone slammed to a halt.
Yeah.
It's the sound of physical order completely failing to impose behavioral order.
Which brings up a critical question for you, the listener. In an area designed to be a model of efficiency and safety, why does this inches mindset still win?
All the new signs, the new paint, it's like none of it matters.
It almost implies that building better roads just gives dangerous drivers a better platform to be dangerous. The road is new, but the internalized culture of me first is old, and it seems to be impervious to modernization.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. We've got two intense incidents 10 minutes apart, two completely different environments. What are the big, actionable takeaways here about this driving culture?
I think we can synthesize 3 critical flaws directly from these sources. And these aren't just local issues, they're systemic gaps between our infrastructure and our behavior.
Let's start with the first one, the most obvious violation.
Flaw number 1, encroaching on pedestrian space. That motorcycle on the footpath, it highlights a fundamental breakdown in respecting boundaries. The source material is blunt. Footpaths are for feet, period.
Right.
So when a driver treats a dedicated pedestrian area as just a convenient shortcut, it signals a complete disregard for non-car space and, for the most vulnerable people on the road, it's arrogance, not necessity.
Okay, so what about flaw number 2, the one from the Toyota Krista?
Flaw number 2, the inches mindset. This is that cultural acceptance of treating public roads like a high-precision racetrack. The danger is the assumption that if a vehicle can physically fit into a gap, even by an inch, then it's okay to take it.
It's a culture of maximizing speed over maximizing safety.
Precisely. It prioritizes the aggressive individual push forward over the collective safety of the whole traffic ecosystem. It's about being fast, not being safe.
And now let's circle back to that big, profound insight from the construction zone, the speed paradox.
Flaw number 3, the speed paradox. This is really the most sobering finding. As we said, the only reason both of those incidents were near misses and not major collisions is because the current environment, the potholes, the diversions, the congestion, it forced speeds to stay low.
So if the only thing saving lives right now is the inconvenient, temporary chaos, what on earth happens when we get the world-class, smooth, high-speed highway we're building?
That's the core of the paradox. We are engineering roads for 80 kilometers per hour, but the driving culture is still built around an inches mindset that's optimized for chaos.
So when the roads are perfect,
When the roads are perfect, the physical limits that are protecting drivers from themselves just vanish. These same aggressive behaviors, overtaking on footpaths, squeezing into 1-inch gaps, they're just going to be tried at double the speed. And that will lead to faster and therefore far more lethal accidents.
it's not an engineering problem then. It has to be cultural. The source's verdict just nails the disconnect. We are building world-class highways, but our road sense is still stuck in the breakdown lane.
It's a harsh assessment, but it's an accurate one. The physical investment is hitting global standards, but the collective behavior hasn't caught up. We've built the Ferrari of roads, but we're letting high-risk amateur drivers take it on the track.
We've covered the details, the specific locations, the license plates, the proximity. This deep dive really shows that you learn the most about safety by looking at the moments where it completely fails.
And the source ends with a darkly funny but very accurate summary. It says, God bless the broken road indeed, because, at this rate, it's the only thing slowing us down enough to stay alive.
Which leaves us with a really provocative final thought to close on.
Yeah, consider this. The whole goal of development is to increase speed and efficiency. But if the underlying culture is incapable of self-regulation, if it relies on these high-risk moves, then finishing the NH66 expansion just eliminates the only safety mechanism we currently have, the friction of construction.
So what happens then?
When the chaos ends and the roads are smooth and the only speed limit left is a driver's own dangerous aggression, will better infrastructure just become an accelerator for tragedy? That's the paradox of progress this city and many others has to confront.